Welcome, the anointed ones. In the game of power, the loudest roar often comes from the quietest hunter. They thought they were untouchable, strutting like kings on a chessboard they didn't even own. But here's the twist. When the chosen ones move, the enemy doesn't just lose a piece, they lose the whole game. Fact. Over 90% of empires don't collapse from outside forces. They crumble from within when the foundations are cracked and the leader's downfall becomes inevitable. And now, the moment is upon us. An arrest is about to send shockwaves through the ranks, a calculated strike that will flip the script. The self-proclaimed big shot. They're about to learn the hard way that not every throne is unshakable and not every enemy is as predictable as they'd hoped. It's chess, not checkers, folks. But in this match, the chosen ones have just called checkmate. Number 1. The unveiling of true power. Power is rarely what it seems on the surface. True power isn't in loud declarations or flashy moves. It's in the silent control of the game, the ability to shift events without needing applause. The arrest of your enemy will strip away every illusion they've built around themselves. They've spent time posturing, playing the untouchable. But this is the moment the curtain drops, and everyone sees the truth. Their power was always borrowed, and you've just called in the debt. This isn't just about putting them in handcuffs. It's a declaration that the balance of control has shifted. People often assume the loudest, most visible player is the one holding the cards. But this moment proves otherwise. You've worked behind the scenes, moved the pieces no one noticed, and orchestrated the kind of takedown they never saw coming. The arrest will hit them where it hurts the most, their credibility. People who once feared or admired them will suddenly question everything they thought they knew. It's not the physical act of detaining them that matters, it's the symbolism. It says, you're not invincible, and the real power has been here all along. Every move they've made up to this point, every deal, every alliance, every show of strength will be reevaluated in the harsh light of their downfall. Those who stood beside them will begin to distance themselves, not wanting to go down with the sinking ship. And in that moment, as their carefully crafted empire starts to crumble, they'll finally understand what true power looks like. It's not in being seen, it's in making moves that can't be countered. And now, with this single act, you've solidified your place as the force no one can afford to underestimate. Number 2. Disruption of the inner circle. When the arrest happens, it's not just one person being taken down, it's an entire system being shaken to its core. The thing about power is that it rarely operates alone. It thrives on connections, alliances, and an inner circle that feeds off its influence. But when the key player is removed, the whole structure starts to wobble. Suddenly, every person who stood in their shadow, who relied on their strength for survival, is left scrambling. For their allies, the arrest is more than a shock. It's a moment of pure panic. They'll start second-guessing everything, who they've trusted, the deals they've made, the plans they've relied on. The confidence they once had in their untouchable leader will dissolve, replaced by fear that they might be next. It's not paranoia, it's survival instinct. They'll turn on each other to save themselves, and the cracks in their foundation will start to split wide open. And here's the twist. Those closest to them, the ones who once cheered the loudest, will likely be the first to disappear. Loyalty is a fragile thing when self-preservation kicks in. Their supposed allies will quietly distance themselves, disown them, and rewrite their own narratives to escape the fallout. This isn't just an arrest, it's a dismantling. It's pulling the linchpin from a network that depended entirely on the perception of invulnerability. And without their leader at the helm, the inner circle becomes a headless beast, chaotic, disorganized, and vulnerable to collapse. The beauty of it all? You didn't just take down one person, you triggered a chain reaction. They'll fight each other, betray each other, and ultimately undo themselves. The inner circle they thought was their strength, it will become their downfall. Number 3. The psychological advantage. The arrest is more than just a physical act. It's a psychological earthquake. Your enemy isn't just losing their freedom, they're losing their grip on control, their confidence, and most importantly, their narrative. When someone who sees themselves as untouchable is suddenly brought down, it shatters their mental armor. This isn't just about punishment, it's about breaking the very foundation of how they see themselves and how others see them. From the moment they're taken in, the doubt starts to creep in. Every move they've made, every step they thought was calculated suddenly feels like a mistake. They'll start replaying their decisions in their mind, questioning where they slipped, and worse, wondering how you outmaneuvered them so cleanly. That seed of doubt, it's lethal. It doesn't just live in their head. It grows, infecting every thought, every plan, every ounce of confidence they have left. And the world doesn't make it any easier for them. The arrest strips away the illusion of invincibility they worked so hard to build. People they once intimidated will laugh behind their back. Allies will hesitate to be associated with them. Rivals will quietly celebrate their downfall. For someone who thrives on power and control, this is the ultimate humiliation. But the real masterstroke is this. They won't just doubt themselves, they'll start to fear you. If you were able to orchestrate this, what else are you capable of? How much do you already know? How many steps ahead are you playing? Their mind will become their worst enemy, spiraling into paranoia and fear. This is the kind of defeat that lingers, the kind that breaks a person from the inside out. The physical arrest is temporary. The psychological impact, that's permanent. And that's where the true victory lies. Number 4, a public reminder of consequences. When the arrest happens, it's not just about one person. It's a message that reverberates far beyond the immediate circle. It's a loud, undeniable statement that actions have consequences, and no one, no matter how powerful they appear, is exempt from facing them. This is where the game changes, not just for your enemy, but for anyone watching from the sidelines, quietly weighing their own moves. The arrest isn't just an event, it's a signal flare. It tells the world that crossing the chosen ones comes at a price, one that no amount of influence, wealth, or connections can erase. For some, this will be a sobering wake-up call, a reminder that playing on the wrong side has its limits. For others, it will be a deterrent, a clear warning that the risk isn't worth the reward. And the beauty of it? The message isn't delivered in words, but in action. There's no need for threats or speeches. The arrest itself says everything. This is what happens when you challenge the wrong force. It's not just a punishment, it's an example, one that will ripple through networks, alliances, and power structures. Observers will see the fallout, the fear in the eyes of those who thought they were untouchable, the silence of allies too afraid to speak, the shifting of loyalties as people scramble to protect themselves. It's a reminder that power is not just about control, it's about perception. And with this move, you've solidified the perception that the chosen ones are a force no one can afford to challenge. The consequences aren't just for the arrested, they're for everyone watching, and the lesson is simple. Step against the chosen ones, and your endgame has already been written. Number 5. Exposure of the hidden threads. The arrest isn't just about removing one player from the board. It's about unraveling the entire web they've built in secret. Every move they've made, every underhanded deal, every betrayal they thought was safely buried, is about to be dragged into the light. And when the truth surfaces, it won't just expose their weaknesses, it will dismantle the foundation they've been standing on. Their power wasn't built on integrity. It was built on manipulation, backdoor agreements, and silenced voices. These aren't isolated incidents. They're threads of a much larger tapestry of corruption. With their arrest, those threads begin to unravel, and the once imposing image they projected starts to fall apart. The lies they told to secure alliances will come back to haunt them. The bribes they paid to maintain control will be revealed, leaving those who accepted them scrambling for cover. What's most damning is how quickly their allies will turn. As the hidden dealings come to light, everyone involved will panic. Those who were complicit will rush to cut ties, deny involvement, or worse, throw the arrested party under the bus to save their own skin. The fallout won't just damage their reputation, it will destroy their entire network. And here's the real kicker. This exposure won't just affect them, it will ripple outward, touching everyone who played a part, no matter how small. Organizations, businesses, even governments that once aligned with them will face scrutiny. It's not just one person's downfall, it's a domino effect that pulls down everyone connected to their corruption. The arrest is the beginning, but the truth it reveals is the real endgame. When the hidden threads come undone, the entire structure collapses, leaving nothing but rubble in its wake. Number 6, a shift in public perception. Perception is everything, especially in a world where power relies on reputation. Your enemy has built their image on being untouchable, projecting strength and dominance to keep others in line. But with their arrest, that illusion crumbles, and the cracks in their armor become impossible to ignore. The moment the news breaks, the narrative shifts. They're no longer the feared and revered figure they once were. They're someone who got caught. Their carefully constructed image of invincibility disintegrates, replaced by one of vulnerability and defeat. People who once whispered their name with awe will start speaking it with disdain, or worse, indifference. The fear they once commanded will be replaced by ridicule. This shift isn't just about them losing respect. It's about you gaining it. The arrest sends a clear message to the world. They weren't as powerful as they seemed, and you're the force that proved it. Suddenly, all eyes are on you, not as a challenger, but as the one who toppled the so-called giant. Your position is no longer questioned, it's solidified, and it doesn't stop there. The public perception shift spreads like wildfire, affecting everyone who is aligned with them. People who once stood beside your enemy will scramble to distance themselves, afraid of being tarnished by association. Those who hesitated to support you will now step forward, eager to align with the new center of power. The beauty of this moment is that it's irreversible. Once the perception of invincibility is shattered, it can't be rebuilt. They'll try, of course, but the damage is done. And as the world sees them fall, it will only serve to elevate you further. In the eyes of the public, there's no question anymore. The untouchable ones aren't them, they're you. Number 7, a strategic reset. The arrest isn't just a conclusion, it's a turning point. When your enemy falls, they don't just leave a vacancy, they leave a power vacuum. And in the chaos that follows, you step in, not as a participant in the same game, but as the architect of a new one. This is your moment to reset the board, to tear down the old rules that served them and build a structure that serves you. Their downfall marks the collapse of a system that revolved around their influence. The alliances they built, the tactics they used, the strategies they relied on, it all becomes obsolete. Their empire was designed for their benefit, but now it's an empty shell, ready to be repurposed. This isn't just about inheriting their position. It's about reshaping the entire landscape to fit your vision. You have the advantage now, and it's not just about being in control, it's about being the one who defines what control looks like. The people who once feared them will now look to you for leadership. The power players who played by their rules will have no choice but to adapt to yours. It's not about filling their shoes, it's about building a new path entirely, one that no one else can walk but you. This reset isn't just a fresh start, it's a recalibration of power itself. Their defeat sends a clear message. The old ways are over. You're not just winning the game, you're rewriting it. The board no longer belongs to them, or anyone else for that matter. It's yours now, and every move from here on out will reflect the reality that you are in complete control. Their end is not just an ending, it's the beginning of your reign. Number 8, amplifying fear in your opposition. Fear is a powerful tool, and nothing amplifies it like watching someone fall who was once considered untouchable. When your enemy is arrested, it doesn't just shake them. It sends tremors through everyone who might have thought about standing against you. The arrest becomes more than just an action. It becomes a symbol, a warning that resonates far beyond the immediate circle. Your opposition will suddenly find themselves reevaluating everything. Every deal they've made, every ally they've trusted, and every move they've planned will now be under scrutiny in their own minds. They'll wonder, if this could happen to them, what's stopping it from happening to me? Paranoia will set in, and they'll start seeing threats where there might not even be any. The brilliance lies in the psychological impact. This isn't about making more arrests or issuing threats. It's about the ripple effect of a single decisive act. The message is clear. You don't need to play your hand often, because when you do, it's game over for whoever is on the receiving end. That's the kind of power that makes people hesitate before even considering a challenge. Fear will start to dictate their actions. They'll second-guess their alliances, avoid making bold moves, and shift their focus to protecting themselves rather than attacking you. The arrest will make them realize that your reach isn't just long, it's precise. You don't act randomly. You strike exactly where it matters, and that realization alone is enough to paralyze them. This isn't about flexing power for the sake of it. It's about creating an atmosphere where opposition isn't just risky, it feels futile. And as they tread lightly, afraid of your unseen hand, you'll continue to dominate, unchallenged and firmly in control. Number 9, a battle of narratives. The arrest isn't just about one person being taken down. It's about controlling the narrative in a way that redefines everything. In a world where stories are more powerful than facts, how you spin this moment is just as important as the event itself. The public will watch, and how you frame this arrest will dictate how history remembers it. This isn't just justice. It's a carefully crafted storyline where you're not just a player, you're the mastermind. From the moment the arrest happens, you hold the pen. The story being told isn't one of downfall, it's one of inevitable fate. You're not just defeating an enemy, you're proving that their fall was not a matter of if, but when. Your enemy becomes the villain in this narrative, and you are the force that exposed them for what they truly are. Every angle, every piece of information, every statement you make will reinforce your role as the orchestrator of this outcome. This isn't just about the consequences of their actions, it's about the broader message that it sends. The arrest paints you as someone who sees the bigger picture, someone whose moves are deliberate and unstoppable. It positions you as the one who dictates the course of events, the one who has the power to change the narrative whenever you choose. The world will see this as proof that you are unbeatable, that your influence is not just local, it's global. And anyone who stands in your way will eventually feel the weight of your hand. The beauty of this moment is that it's not just a singular victory, it's a defining moment in an ongoing saga where you are the hero, the villain's undoing, and the force that shapes destiny. As the story unfolds, everyone will know that it was you who orchestrated it all, and that makes you an omnipresent power in the eyes of everyone watching. The narrative doesn't just follow the arrest, it follows you. Number 10, triggering a domino effect. The arrest is just the spark, but the real devastation is in what follows. What your enemy failed to understand is that their downfall wouldn't just be contained to them, it would ignite a series of events that could tear their entire empire apart. The moment they're taken down, the floodgates open, and every secret, every deal, and every weak link they relied on will start to unravel. The arrest will create a ripple effect that no one, least of all your enemy, expected. Allies they thought were loyal will panic, scrambling to distance themselves from the fallout. Those who've been complicit in their schemes will begin to turn on each other, throwing each other under the bus, to avoid being caught in the same net. It's like a house of cards. One wrong move, and it all comes crashing down. What was once a tightly held network will fracture. The alliances they thought were invulnerable will start to crumble as their partners weigh the risks of being associated with someone who's now seen as a liability. The fear of being next in line will push people to act rashly. Some will run, some will betray, and others will simply be paralyzed by the uncertainty of it all. This is where the real power lies. Not in the arrest itself, but in how it sets off a chain reaction that dismantles everything they've worked so hard to build. The cracks that were once hidden will widen, and what seemed like a solid empire will begin to collapse from within. Those who were once a part of it will scramble for their own survival, leaving the foundation weaker and weaker until there's nothing left but rubble. In the end, one arrest won't just stop your enemy. It will trigger the complete disintegration of everything they've built. Their empire, once a towering structure, will be reduced to dust. Number 11, a masterclass in timing. Timing is everything, and when it comes to power, it's the difference between a calculated strike and a missed opportunity. The arrest isn't just an action, it's a masterstroke of precision, carefully executed at the exact moment when its impact will be felt most. It's about understanding the perfect window, knowing when the enemy is most vulnerable, and striking with the kind of timing that makes the whole world take notice. This isn't a hasty decision or an impulsive move. It's the culmination of careful planning and observation. You've waited for the right moment when your enemy is at their peak, when they believe they're invincible, and the illusion of their power is strongest. That's when you make your move. The timing makes their fall all the more devastating. They won't just be arrested, they'll be caught at their most arrogant, their most untouchable, and that's what will make it unforgettable. The beauty of this strategic timing is that it magnifies the consequences. It's not just the act itself, but how it plays out in the public eye. People will remember the exact moment when everything changed. It's like a well-placed punch that lands with perfect accuracy and devastating force. The timing will amplify the message, making it impossible for anyone to ignore. Your enemy won't just be taken down, they'll be caught in a moment that will be replayed over and over in the minds of those who witness it. This is a calculated game. The arrest happens when your enemy's confidence is at its peak, when their supporters are most vocal, when they least expect it. And in that instant, everything shifts. The public will remember not just what happened, but when it happened and how it completely turned the tables. Timing isn't just a detail, it's the weapon that turns a single move into a game-changing moment. Number 12. A final curtain call. This moment is more than just the end of your enemy. It's the dramatic conclusion to a story where their arrogance becomes their greatest flaw. It's not revenge, because revenge is driven by emotion. What you're executing is a perfect, almost poetic justice. A final curtain call where every misstep they've made, every inflated belief in their own invulnerability, has led to their inevitable downfall. And it's not just satisfying, it's a statement. Their arrogance was always their greatest weapon, but it was also their Achilles heel. They thought they could get away with anything, that no one could touch them, and in their hubris they lost sight of the one thing that matters most: accountability. This is where they finally face the consequences of their overconfidence. The arrest isn't just the end of a chapter, it's the closing of a book where their arrogance is written into every line, only to be erased by their own undoing. What makes this so powerful is that it's not a sudden explosive act of rage. It's calculated, deliberate, and ultimately deserved. You've been playing a longer game, and the timing and execution of their fall are a testament to the depth of your planning and resolve. The arrest is merely the final act in a drama that has been unfolding for far longer than they ever realized. This is poetic justice because it shows that in the end, no one can escape the consequences of their actions. Their arrogance has led to this moment of reckoning, and your role in it is undeniable. It's not just about bringing them down, it's about cementing your legacy as the one who outsmarted, outlasted, and ultimately defined the rules. Their story ends in shame while yours is written in triumph. In the end, the arrest is not just an event, it's a pivotal moment that reshapes the entire landscape. It's a masterclass in timing, a strategic reset, and the spark that ignites a chain of events destined to dismantle everything your enemy has built. What seemed like an untouchable empire crumbles, not because of force, but because of the meticulous orchestration behind it. Every move you made, every step you took, was calculated to perfection, culminating in a single act that shattered their invincibility. But the true brilliance lies in what follows. The arrest is the beginning, not just of their downfall, but of your rise. As their narrative crumbles, yours is rewritten, one where you are the force that redefined the rules, reshaped the game, and emerged as the undeniable power. Fear ripples through your opposition, not because you've acted impulsively, but because they know now that you are always 10 steps ahead. The world no longer sees your enemy as the untouchable giant. They see them for what they truly are, a cautionary tale, a warning to anyone who dares cross you. What makes this moment truly unforgettable isn't just the fall of your enemy, it's the rise of you. With every piece of their empire crumbling, you solidify your position, your legacy, and your power. This isn't just about winning. It's about rewriting the entire narrative, turning their downfall into the backdrop for your ascendancy. The story of their arrogance, their mistakes, and their eventual undoing will always be tied to the story of your triumph, a testament to your strategic brilliance and your unshakable dominance. In this final act, you don't just break your enemy, you break the very foundation of what they thought was unassailable. And as their story fades into history, yours will continue to grow, stronger and more influential with each passing moment. If you found this breakdown as powerful and thrilling as we intended, make sure to subscribe, like, and share this video with anyone who needs to hear this message. Don't forget to drop a comment below. Let us know your thoughts and how you see the power dynamics playing out. Stay tuned for more. You won't want to miss what's coming next.